So here is my succulent and cactus stand in my bedroom, and I brought you in here because I wanted to show you this plant. It's called a Jao Gulan, and see if I can get a leaf in here. This is a medicinal tea, and this one I brought in from outside last fall, early winter, and I put it here. Well, first I had it in the hallway, and then I brought it in here. It went dormant, and it came back around spring, and it's climbing up this tomato cage that you see here, and it looks like it's doing okay. I think I'm going to leave this one inside. I would like to see how it does as a house plant. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm going to show you a couple more of these that I have. So hold on tight. Okay. So this one is outside. You can see it is not looking very good at all. It was exposed to the snow and the cold. This is the south side of my house, so this is a bit of a porch I have on the back of my house. And so it's here. It got the sun reflected. It's got a concrete slab behind it. So it survived. But you can tell that it's not as nice as the one inside, and it has some catching up to do. But it's still early in the season here in Utah. This is 2019. It is the end of May, and we've been hit by a lot of rain and colder temperatures, and so it hasn't exploded as well as it should be by now, but it's still early in the season, and so I'll expect it to do okay. Last year it didn't do very good here. I grew up a little bit, but maybe I just need to find a better location for it. But next to this is my greenhouse. I bought this last year off of Amazon, really cheap. And what I wanted to show you here was this one. This I left in the greenhouse all winter long, and it is the same plant, and it is doing really well here in the greenhouse. And so I'm going to leave it. I added this. It's just a plant, what do you call it? It's just a flat that you'd put plants in, and I'm going to allow it to climb this. So hopefully it'll fill up the back of the greenhouse, and we'll see how it does in here. And hopefully it doesn't get too hot, but I'm thinking just because it's a plant from Southeast Asia, and I expect that it will do better with the higher humidity. So whatever happened, outdoors in a greenhouse, protected, Zone 7, Salt Lake City, Utah, south side of the house. This is the back side of the house right there. Jao Gulan did really well. I'm pretty psyched about that. And of course, what else do we have in here? We've got some grape cuttings. I've got a black grape and a Gewürztraminer, and I'll leave them in these pots for a while, and then I'll transplant them into individual pots. This is a mint I had inside. It struggled all winter, but it's got some life still in it. I'm sure you can't see it, but it's in there. I have a longevity spinach. This I had in that bedroom at the bottom of the succulent rack, and I brought it out here to give it more humidity. And what I'll probably do with this is cut it. I'm thinking about cutting it here, taking these two branches and rooting them up so that this gets a little bushier, and it's supposed to be pretty good. Oh, I lied. This is not longevity spinach because I see the tag in the back. This is the Juan Gok. I tried to show this tag before and it doesn't show up very well. Is it there? Oh, you can do it. Oh, you can't do it. HoanngOc. You can come on. No. Okay. And again, Southeast Asia. I want to say Vietnam, but native to Vietnam. Ha! It's on the tag. So right on. Yeah. So much more humid. It'll probably do pretty good in the greenhouse. On the bottom, I have Yerba Buena. I planted one in here. I planted a couple things in here, and the Yerba Buena took off. This looks like it might come back, and I don't remember what it was, unless that's just a weed. We'll find out. And the white sage did not survive the winter. But the Yerba Buena is filled in. It's the type of mint, and in the greenhouse it survived and it did pretty good. What else do we have in here? This devastation all along here was, oh, what do you call it? Leaf of life. I've got two of these small pots in the bedroom on the succulent rack. They're doing good. These did not. This was 2 or 3 leaves I got. And so all of these had plants, and they are all gone. They did not survive winter outside. But I believe, as far as I know, that the leaf of life comes from Jamaica. And again, this is Zone 7, Salt Lake City, Utah. Not even in the greenhouse did they survive, so not surprised. And I bought this year. I keep trying these, and I don't have the best success yet. I'm trying the greenhouse, seeing if the greenhouse will let it survive. This is a Vicks plant, and it is a menthol smelling plant. I don't believe it has a medicinal value as much as it's just got a really strong menthol smell, and it definitely clears up the sinuses. But I would not suggest ingestion. I don't know what the tag says. Allowed to dry. Indoor part shade, hanging baskets, blah blah blah, tender perennial. So, tender perennial may survive outside. It was $4. I may leave it outside. What I might do is, if it does pretty good in here, I'll cut it somewhere, make a couple of cuttings, and maybe put it in the humidity chamber in the office. I don't know yet. It's new. I got it this week. But again, I keep trying them, and I like them. I think that they're useful. And so, yeah, you gotta try until you get it right. And then this one, again, trying until you get it right. I bought another lemon. But this one, holy cow, I've never seen it before. I bought this, 4 days ago? This is a variegated pink lemon. And I bought this at Lowe's, of all places. Did not expect it. It was sitting on a rack, and usually I expect citrus to go for about $20. The tag said 10, and they knocked it down to 5. So go to Lowe's, see if you can get one. Really pretty leaves. The reason I like the leaves, especially on something like this, is that it's not always in fruit. I just smelled the leaf. That was that pause. It's like, lemon. It's not always in fruit. It's not always in flower. And so something like this to look at, it just grabs the attention. It's a beautiful specimen. And to have pink lemons, well, that's just kind of cool too. Alright, so I think that's all I have in the greenhouse right now. Whoa, the yerba buena's going over the edge. I had no idea. Alright, last year I potted up my apple trees around my pond, and just because I rent, and so I didn't know if I would be moving over the winter. There was a lot of property exchanges, and so I expected I'd have to pick up and go, and trying to dig up trees in the middle of winter was not something I looked forward to. And so I potted these up in the fall, and I think I'm just going to leave them in the pots. I like the ability to move them, especially grouping them together. I did a lot of my plants grouped up. Kind of in a cluster for winter protection, and it seemed to keep most of them alive. Oh, I don't know, it's a big yard, but last thing is right here. So on this spot right here last year, right there you see this, it's a felt pot, and it's upside down. It's on a bucket with worm castings tea in there. But these pots I had lined up here, and each one had a different fingerling potato, and it was a poor yeah, it was bad. I didn't get many potatoes out of it, and so what I ended up doing was I threw them over here into this plot. What I did here, a couple videos ago you might have seen, I had a swimming pool right here, and I intentionally killed the dirt, killed the grass, and started doing some soil building. I added straw and cardboard, then straw, lots of leaves for the last 2 years. What you see down is leaves, but this is where I threw the potatoes, and now I have lots of potatoes. And so my intention when I grab a couple of bucks is to start buffering these up, kind of take some of the potting soil and fill it around the stalks of the potatoes, give them some room to grow up. So this is going to have more soil in it, hopefully, if I remember and if I can afford it. If not, they're still in the ground, they're still going to do something, but hopefully I can get a few bucks together, get some soil, and start buffering these up. But there's quite a few potatoes in here. Seemed like a good thought, it's going to break up the soil for me a little bit. I think that's potato right there, next to the potato. And that one, of course, didn't do anything because it's on the surface and didn't get buried. And what else is in here? I added a variegated oregano. And I think that's all I've added in here this year. The comfrey's doing good. Chives are doing good. Some pots. These were in my cluster. I've got an elderberry I pulled out of the ground last year because I wanted to keep it, and a fig, and a Jao Gulan there. No, excuse me. That is not a Jao Gulan. That is faux tea or faux Thai. F-O is the first word. T-I is the second word. Pronounce it how you will. Correct me if you want. Faux tea, faux Thai. It's the tuber that you use. There is a lavender that I think was actually in here. And I dug it up. And these two are new. There is a jewel carmine jewel cherry, and it's a plum. It's oh, I can remember this. I have to be able to remember this. I know you make plum vinegar out of it, and it's an umi plum. Oh, the name of it is going to be on the tag. Kenko by Kankobai, and this comes from Japan. This is the Japanese plum. Strawberries are looking good. What else is doing good back here? I don't know. Lots of things. Some things made it, some things didn't. Still no chickens in the chicken house. Hops growing up the trellis really well, and this is a grapevine, probably not intended for this climate. Died down to the roots, but it's coming back pretty good. And I'm going to put a pool here, and back in the back there you'll see some of the trees and shrubs I got last year. There's a, if I can remember, there's a blackberry, there's a mulberry, there's a grape, that's a Riesling. No, that's not a Riesling. This is Syrah, I think. This, I honestly don't know. I want to say it might be a pomegranate. I planted this, if it's the pomegranate, I planted the pomegranate on the other side of that lemon balm, that big bushy shrub. Where's my finger? Right there. That's the lemon balm. On the other side of that, I had the pomegranate. And again, figuring I'd move, I pulled it out of the ground. Zone 7 is a little bit sketchy for a pomegranate, even though this is a hardy one, if that's what this is. But I think it is. It looks like a pomegranate. Son of a bitch. Alright. So yeah, pomegranate. And potted it up, put it in the greenhouse. It survived winter. And I didn't label it, but I think that's what I've got here. And lastly, the bay laurel. The bay laurel took a wallop. It was in the front of the greenhouse. I think next year I'll put it in the back of the greenhouse against the wall. Give it that extra protection, the buffer from the other plants, and maybe it'll do better. But yeah, it was a good 1.5 feet tall last year, and you can see this is what it looked like, and I just chopped them. It got hit, but a lot of it survived. A lot of it's coming back, and so I'm pretty happy. And then this is a cast iron plant that I put a couple of rhizomes in this pot, and they're looking okay too. So yeah, that's what's here. What else made it? Hardy kiwi made it. That went into the greenhouse. And here's another fig. I just bought this a couple weeks ago. It's a honey fig. And of course I am trying to play with bonsai, so I got a couple of plants. There's a, I think that's a dogwood, and that's a Japanese maple. And today I went to go buy that bale of straw that you see back there, and I'll tell you, I'm not embarrassed. That is where I'm going to pee for most of the summer. Yeah, take that. And then I'll use that straw as mulch in the fall. And it'll be loaded with my minerals. And so, yes, as gross as it may sound to some of you, that is actually environmentally friendly because, well, I think it's a good idea to try and save the world. So sometimes you got to deal with things that might not be as pleasant as you thought. But where I got that, I got this because I've been wanting a cana lily, and for no other use, well, it'll make good compost. It'll get to be about 3, maybe 4 feet tall, big leaves. It'll spread out, fill the pot. Maybe not fill the pot this year, but eventually, because it'll grow by rhizomes, which are the underground rootlets, and you can separate them easier that way with the rhizomes. But this will spread. It'll fill the pot. It'll fill this space here, and yeah, that's a cana lily. And this one I liked a lot, partly because it's got a red flower, and its name is Scarlet, which is the name of my daughter. And so when she comes to visit, she'll know that her dad has a plant that's got her name, because I love my kiddo. Alright, so that's how things look like the end of May 2019. Again, lots of water, lots of rain, but things are looking good. In the back there, oh, the rhubarb is doing fantastic. Look at that. Holy crap. French sorrel's doing good. Grow French sorrel if you like permaculture, if you like perennial vegetables. It tastes like lemon. Really, really yummy stuff. In the back over there, to the left of that shrub, you can't see it, but there's another faux tie. Again, call it what you will. It's in the soil, and it survived the winter, so faux tie looks like it will survive milder Utah winters. And that looks pretty barren. There's an elderberry there, and behind that is a stinging nettle. And I had 3 stinging nettles, one here, and one behind that tree, and those 2 died. This one survived, and the elderberry has been struggling here. Last year, you can see that stalk was about as tall as it got, and elderberry is dying down, and it's got some starts here and a little one behind it about 5, 6, maybe a foot away. Almost said 6 inches, maybe a foot away. And so it's spread through roots. Hosta here, finger there. Hosta's doing really good. And I think there's always something going on in here. This is my thought process. You know, gotta play with dirt, gotta play with plants. Give yourself something to do. Keep yourself occupied. Grow food. Tend the soil. Keep learning. Alright, that's been a longer video than I expected. Maybe I'll cut it into bits. Or you just spent 25 some odd minutes with me, and I appreciate that. So thank you, and have a fantastic day. Alright, bye.